everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today, we are going to,
rank.
Yeah, I know, it's just how do you rank stupidity?
You like ranking, Safi?
No. Anyway, this is really to do with Chucky. And we have seen all the movies, and we saw the TV show, and we thought it would be, well, I should say Marco the Millennial thought it would be interesting.
That's what you do.
Rank. That's what millennials like
That's what
to
you do. After you watch a whole movie series, you rank it.
I don't.
You rank it worst to best. And then when a new thing gets added, you rank everything again.
Then that's why it's just dumb. Because especially when you have, in this series, there's so much dumbness, it's hard to rank the dumb. And which is dumber. And I guess Marco, we talked about this before we did the video. He said, well, if you'd want to watch it again, that's kind of like when you have some things that are so not so great, that if you want to watch it again, then that should give it some kind of credence. And I agree with him. That's true.
Yeah.
But for me, it's
all
like, I don't know if I would agree with the things that I would want to watch again. Probably none of it, if you want to know the truth, except for...
Well, I will.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Easily.
I could see two here, maybe, that I would want to watch again.
I bet you would.
Out of the whole... There's 9 total things.
Let me guess, you rewatched the third one and The Bride.
Yeah, I would rewatch the third one. Oh, God. That means the chair's going to get... The wind is blowing, and
Nobody cares about that,
I
Safi.
know that, but...
nobody cares.
The chair we have on the
Don't make
porch
this video
keeps
an hour
flying
long.
off the
Don't make this an
porch.
hour long.
Well,
That's not important to the video.
I know, but I have to listen to it. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so I don't know how you want to do this, but Marco and I, our list kind of agree in certain places, but in other places, no. But it's not for the same reasons, I don't think. So, well, I'll just put, I guess we have to do the end. We go from the end all the way, which is the worst, to the best, which is, I put that in quotes. Anyway, I did not have any trouble making the remake of the movie my last choice. It called it the remake. I'm like, what? And that's the movie with Aubrey Plaza, and she played the mother of the boy in it. And
I had a very active Sweet 16.
And I just couldn't stand her character. Was horrible, and she's really a very disagreeable person. She always has a disagreeable face, and maybe I'm just being unfair, but not in this movie. This movie was just, she ruined it, the whole thing for me. I could hardly bear to watch it because of her. So to me, that's my last number 9. Okay, so because there's 9 things. Go ahead, Marco. What was your number 9?
Well, originally my number 9 was the series, which is garbage. But I would say that the remake is number 9 for me because, like the series, it completely doesn't fit in with the series. No. And it had some good elements to it that could have been good if this wasn't a Child's Play movie. And I think that Aubrey Plaza completely ruins it. You know, she's a slut. She's a bitch. Nobody likes her. I don't want to see her in anything. She was terrible in that book movie I watched this year. You know, she just does the same thing every movie. And then they race swapped the detective and they literally only race swapped him so that they could have him do the line, "A white man dying in a watermelon patch. How ironic." And it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, is this like a 1970s Dolomite movie? Like, what am I watching here? This is supposed to be Child's Play. And you got this weird, like, racial joke, like, oh, a white man dying in a watermelon. It's like, no, that's not funny. And then the thing with the mom where she's like, I had an active sweet 16. It's like, you can't even like her. In the original movie, you like the mother character.
Yeah.
She's a great character, but in the remake, it's like, ooh, nobody wants to see her. And Safi, don't do that. And, what else? I mean, there was one last thing, but I forgot since Safi kept on distracting me. So
Sorry.
Go ahead, Safi.
Okay, well, if we're on number 8, I put the Seed of Chucky, and I just thought it was stupid. I just to have the child of Chucky and Tiffany is British. It makes apps, and I'm not. We're part British. Our whole lineage goes back to England and all around there. I don't care. It's just stupid. It just doesn't fit, and it gets real messy, and it's dumb, and I just think it's garbage. That's what I mean. It's very hard to rank dumb versus dumber versus dumbest. Horrible. So that was my number 8.
My number 8 is my number 8 is also Seed of Chucky, because I was gonna put the series right here, but the series actually started to act like Seed of Chucky is canon. And I think it's hilarious because they're literally just picking and choosing what they want to be canon and what they don't want to be canon. Because they made it so that the stupid ass Glenn British kid character is canon. Which, fuck that character. Terrible character. Nobody wanted him or her, because it was 2 people, not 1 person, like the series says. But also the series says that Tiffany is now working with Chucky, which makes no sense because in Seed of Chucky, she gets mad at him and doesn't want to work with him anymore. So it just doesn't make sense at all. And Seed of Chucky, it's a joke. Basically the whole movie is a formula of, oh, you want to see this? And then after that, they'll show something completely different happen that you wouldn't want to happen. Like in the opening sequence, you see a first-person point of view of someone, and he's going to kill the little girl. And then, Safi, fucking stop. And instead of killing the little girl, he pees his pants, and then we realize it's Glenn. And it's like, fuck off. This movie sucks. It's garbage.
Horrible.
If they hadn't have made the remake, this would have been last place. This movie's a pathetic waste of time, garbage, comedy, trash movie. Okay, Safi, what's your number 7?
7. Okay, well, I had to do a little rearranging because, like I'm saying, it's just like ranking Dumb and Dumber. It's just
it's really all garbage.
I put Chucky the show, and I feel bad, but it just was choppy, disjointed. It started off okay. I mean, even though I hated that the kid was bullied, because the biggest thing, and if you'd listen to the review of the very first episode or 2, he had nobody to turn to. He was being bullied. People were treating him like crap, but not only that, his father beat him up all the time, and he was a drunk. So and there was just nobody for him. And then they started treating him, when the murders started happening, they started treating him like he's a criminal, like, oh, he did everything. And that was, still it was a cohesive, albeit I didn't care for it, story. But then it went down, and it just kind of crashed. And it was a shame. But the part of the problem, which we have talked about extensively, is that the time that they had was so short. It didn't give the characters any chance to develop or start. So when they suddenly shoved this, like at the end, this thing about Junior, They shove it into your face, and you're supposed to kind of like feel sorry for him or something. I don't know what you're supposed to feel. I never liked him. I thought he was a terrible actor.
He would be the perfect actor to be in a commercial for sleeping pills.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't like criticizing kids.
Look, the sleeping pill really works, see?
Well, I don't like criticizing kids, especially because
Why?
I feel like, and Marco brought this up during our review, is that let's say he is not a very good actor ever in his entire life. In this case, he was poorly directed. And so that's not his fault. That's the director's fault. And I just, they had a chance to do something good with this show. But they still, though, they hampered themselves. I don't know whose idea it was to make it into 8 episodes. I mean, I even thought, I guess Marco thought it was going to be at least 10. And then they shrunk it down to 8. And it just ruined it. You don't get any time to do what makes it smooth, so it ends up being choppy. So anyway, that is my number 7.
My number 7 is also the Chucky show, and I'll repeat what Safi said. It started off on a good note where you had this really good concept of a kid who's an outsider, and you have this town full of evil people who deserve to die, and Chucky comes along and he's going to help this kid do it. He's going to help him kill everyone in town, and also they said in the summary, like, expose the town's dark secrets.
Which there were no dark secrets.
This show could have been phenomenal, and it really had a good setup in the first 2 or 3 episodes, but it had all these woke agendas in it, like the gay shit in it, and it's just really gross to watch, all these forced agendas. They made one of the Chuckies gay because he's in Nika's body, and so Tiffany says that Chucky now likes to have sex with men too. And I just thought, oh, this is like fan fiction. This is like retarded fan fiction. And then it becomes a mess. You can't tell what's going on, and you got Junior. Ugh! I mean, this show, and the main actor's terrible too. The only good actors were really Chucky, Lexi, the mean girl, and Andy. And everyone, and I guess Nika and Tiffany were good too, but their stories were trash. And the show also killed off Kyle, an iconic series character, in such a stupid and insulting way, it made me want to throw up. So, Safi, what's your number 6?
Well, probably the only way I would be more accepting of that. Of course, I don't know if I care that much, but if she kind of made an announcement saying she didn't want to do any more, and so they had to kill her off because she didn't want to be a part of it anymore. That was the only acceptable way.
I thought she was dead the whole time because of how bad her acting was. I thought she was a zombie.
She wasn't. It was weird because when she was in an earlier movie.
In the second one.
Okay. That's what I thought. I wasn't for sure, though.
She didn't act dead like Junior.
No, she was actually really good.
Yeah.
And I was a little shocked. Maybe she just hasn't been in anything and she's just kind of forgotten, and I don't know. Who knows? But, okay. My next one is, it's number 6. And I put it as the Cult of Chucky. Now, I thought the Cult of Chucky was trashy. Just crap. But, Marco has said that if you wanted to, if everything is crappy, pick the one that you would watch again.
Don't say what I'm going to say, Safi.
Yeah, I know, but I thought that's the only reason why I put this here. I didn't like this movie at all. I thought it was crap. But I would probably watch it again if I was forced to. And I didn't like... actually, the guy who plays the psychiatrist, who plays the father of Lexi in the show, he was actually really good. He did a really good job. But the show, the storyline, and I think about it, just pisses me off because it's so dumb. And I didn't like it. So that was the Cult of Chucky. That was my number 6. And it also had a continuation of Mika, because
That's not her name.
or whatever her name is, the girl who's in the wheelchair. She's in I guess it's a mental institution, but I think
People
it's for.
know that, Safi.
Well, anyway,
They've seen
that's
it.
what the center's around. So
They know
anyway,
that.
it was a continuation of. Well, I'll just say leave it there. Go ahead.
My number 5 is Curse of Chucky, which is,
No,
number
no,
6.
you're on 6.
My number 6 is Curse of Chucky. I think that Curse of Chucky is trash. I don't like how it tries to rewrite history by making it so that the whole reason that Chucky was at the store was because he was running away from the cops after he held this mom hostage. And I thought that the whole movie had a straight to DVD quality to it, and I didn't like how they sucked out all the color of the movie. I didn't really like Chucky in it. I just didn't like it at all. And you had this like 30-minute long sequence that involved chili. Like really strange choices in this movie. So Safi, what's your next one?
Okay, well, I put my number 5 as Curse of Chucky, which what Marco just talked about. I put that before the Cult just because of the sequence of events and who was in it. And it starts in Curse before it goes to Cult, so that's the only reason why I put it there.
You wouldn't have the bad stuff in Cult without Curse, right, Safi? Because Curse sets it up by having Nika go to the asylum.
Right.
And instead of seeing the mom from the first movie in the asylum, we have to watch a whole movie with Nika in the asylum.
Right. So that's why I put that as number 5. So go ahead.
Well, I just destroyed your reasoning, but whatever.
I don't care. I have my own reasoning. That's
okay.
that.
It's called Safi reasoning. It's basically next to nonsense. My number 5. It's hard to say. Number 5 is what should I put? It's tough. Like, what would I rather? I guess. Okay, number 5 is Child's Play 2, because I hated how they completely disregarded the characters from the first movie. They got rid of the mom character, but then they completely replaced her with the other blonde girl, Kyle. And it's like, so why did you take away the mom to begin with if you're just going to replace her with a girl who's similar girl? It's just really weird. And then you have the detective. He's such a trash character. Well, he's that they ruined him. And the whole movie's so negative, and it's really boring. Like, I watched it recently for the rankings, and I almost fell asleep. I was like, God, when's this movie gonna end? It's such a drag. It's such a miserable drag. So, Safi, what's your number 4?
Mine is Child's Play too. I did not like the things that just stick out to me are the foster home that the boy was in. They had no regard for him when they got that doll, or that left that doll, that Chucky doll there, when they knew what he'd been through.
Oh yeah, and then they try to act like, oh, who cares about all your trauma and your past?
Right.
Why don't you just like this Chucky doll?
Yeah, and then the other thing was his teacher was horrible and mean to him. I thought that was so unprofessional. Those things just, ooh. So they just stick out to me in such a negative way that I can't overlook them and even think about the rest of the movie. But you have to take in consideration, consideration as to what Marco said too, which is pretty negative. So, with the mother and Kyle or whatever. So, but that really, those two things, the teacher and the foster home, stuck out to me the most and very negative. Okay.
My number 4. You want to close the door, Safi?
It's not going to matter. It's going to keep blowing. Just let's.
Yeah, the door handle broke, and then someone fixed the door handle.
No,
but they
put that in quotes.
But they didn't even fix it because we're not allowed to close the door, because if you close it all the way, you can't open it from the inside. you can only open it from the outside. So it's completely not even fixed. But my number 4 is Cult of Chucky, simply because I'd rather rewatch it again than Child's Play 2 right now. Obviously it's going to get a lot of eye rolls. I don't really care. It's a fun, bad movie. It's still bad. Like, the second one's bad, too. I mean, Tom Holland said in an interview that he killed Chucky off as many ways as possible so they couldn't bring him back for a sequel. And then they still brought him back for a sequel. And in this Cult of Chucky, it's bad, but at least it's fun. It has some good kills. I like the story a lot more than in Curse of Chucky, especially because they don't do more rewriting history. And I really liked the evil doctor, and I didn't like Nika. I mean, she's trash. I don't like her at all, except for in the show, because she's more sympathetic in the show. Like that. Oh God! Now I want to put it below Child's Play too, because I just remembered that really cringe-worthy sex scene where she has sex randomly with that red-haired guy. Oh God! Oh, what were they thinking? But it was fun. It was a fun bad movie, and I'll give it that. What's your next one, Safi?
Okay, we're on number 3, and I put The Bride of Chucky, and actually it wasn't too bad. It's like, it's better than all the ones we've just talked about, and even the show, of course, and the remake, which is garbage. And what's left is, I would put it at number 3, because without the other, the other two, you couldn't have the 3.
That doesn't make sense.
Anyway,
at all.
but I liked it. It was okay, and I would rather watch that than 2 and any of those others. So that's why it's 3, and it introduces Tiffany.
And it's the only good movie with Tiffany in it. So
yeah, that's a good point right there. So,
and they killed her off, and then they brought her back for some reason. My number 3 is also Bride of Chucky. I think that this is a fun Chucky movie. I don't like some of the rewriting history where they make it to where they're saying that Tiffany was killing with him all along. I think that completely destroys his character, making him like less sinister, and having to have this like comedic Harley Quinn type of character is really just something I didn't like. It would have been so much better if she was just a crazy fan of his and he got stuck with her, and then he ends up loving her along the way, and then he kills her anyway or something. Like, that would have been so much better. But still, it's a fun movie. It's got some good kills. It's not too confusing, and like all the later sequels, they have so much nonsense in them.
Yeah.
And confusing BS. This one keeps it somewhat simpler, so I like that.
Okay, so, our number 2, well, my number 2,
your number 2
is Child's Play 3, and that may surprise people, but I thought it was a very well done movie, because I don't know why, and I don't know who did the movie. Marco's more familiar with that part, but it just seemed like they cared about it, and they cared about the detail as much as they could, and they it was held in a different place, something that, maybe just I'm naive or something. They held it in a military school, and I went to school in a town where there was a military school, so I thought it was very authentic in certain ways. I recognized things that I was familiar with, and anyway, I thought it was an interesting, and it all, what happens is he gets mailed there because they mail him to the boy who's grown up.
He mails himself
there. And then but another kid who is younger and loves that, about having a friend. Chucky's his friend. I want to be your friend, all that stuff.
Safi, you sound like you're high.
He says, I just thought it went, and he absconds it, and then all this stuff happens. It just was, I thought it was really good. I just thought they paid attention to detail, and they cared about it enough to make it just, it wasn't disjointed or choppy. It seems like the people who made the series, they really should go back and look at this movie and how to make something that's consistent and smoother, and where it shows that you actually care about what you're doing, and where they have time to do it. And they may not have had the best budget in the world compared to maybe something else that people watch, some kind of Marvel movie or something, but it seems like they did all they could with what they had, and it turned out really well. So that was my number 2.
Safi. And you guys are gonna love her reasoning for why it's not number 1. It's the same BS reasoning for all the other ones, because it didn't come first. Like, fuck off with that shit, Safi.
Marco, I have my own opinion, and I have the right to have my opinion, and we don't want to. I don't think it would be boring for people to have us agree on every single thing like we're clones, and we're not.
That doesn't mean that I can't call you out on some really weird reasons.
Well, go ahead, I don't care.
My number 2 is Child's Play 1, and I originally had this always at number 1, but after rewatching it again recently, I did find it kind of boring in comparison to the third one. I thought that it was slightly boring, and it's sad because, all these great characters, they all get destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, they set up all these great characters. You have Chucky. Well, now Chucky is a bisexual who, he can basically be any Chucky doll, and he doesn't really have a personality anymore. He's basically like Michael Myers at this point.
Yeah.
And he's basically Tiffany's bitch.
One who talks.
And and then you have Andy. Andy is still a good character, but he hardly gets anything now. And in this first movie, it's like, wow, what a great kid character. What a great job they did with that, having a kid as a main character. And then the mom. She's a fantastic female character, if you want to talk like that.
And she actually was a mom.
Marco doesn't like any female characters. Like, fuck off.
Marco, you stop.
Because this character, she's a good character, and she's a good mother as well.
Compare her to Aubrey.
And
There's
then
no comparison.
And then the detective, he's fine, but again, all these characters get destroyed. In the first scene, in the opening scene, Chucky says that he's going to dedicate his life to killing his partner who betrayed him, which we don't even know what his partner ever did with him or anything, because in the show they basically write him off completely.
He was the one.
He was his getaway driver.
Yeah,
and who knows what else he did with them.
Yeah, but he taught Tiffany how to make the bomb for the show, right? Wasn't that him?
I don't think so.
Who was? I think so.
No.
Go back and listen.
What?
Just go to that one show.
Sophie, just
It's about one line's worth.
Okay. I don't. Okay. Whatever you say. Wink, wink.
What's his name? Is it Glenn?
No. But they completely write off his character, and God, Sophie, you're so. But all these characters, they destroy all of them, and so this whole fantastic build-up of them. But in the I forgot because Sophie distracted me. In the opening scene, Chucky says he's going to dedicate his life to killing his partner and the detective, and then the detective has never shown up after the first movie. I wonder why. Like, what the hell? Like,
he destroyed himself by not being in the show.
He's just gone. He disappeared. It's like, this is such shitty writing. But the first one started it all, and it could have been something good, but the person who created the series ruined it. So he ran it into the ground himself, and he has nobody but himself to blame. So, Safi, what's your number 1?
Well, my number one is the original because
Oh.
without the original, you can't have anything else. It's the basis for everything. And yeah, they were ruining some of the things, and the premises, the storylines, the characters. Like the mother is a prime example. They have this mother who's actually a caring mother who cares about her child, would never tell her child to go out after hours in a bad neighborhood and
Go
make
some friends, loser.
and didn't go around scowling and have this crappy look on her face.
She's not sleeping with like a 70-year-old man.
It just thought it just, and so I just, and then of course by the second one, you know, they get rid of her and they put her in a mental institution. Why?
And then in Curse of Chucky, they had this like throwaway line where they imply that she got out of the asylum somehow.
It's just it's these, and it's like, why do you people do this? Why do you replace superior characters with inferior characters? Because life doesn't work that way. Somebody isn't superior then and then turns into something inferior. I mean, that dramatic of a transformation. Unless they, I don't know, they they have an accident, they hit their head, and they don't know who they are anymore. I mean, I have no idea in reality how that works. Or they're possessed by the devil, you know, like in The Exorcist or something. I mean, I just don't know. It really kind of pisses me off because, especially with the mother, I mean, it was like, you're talking about like polar opposites. You have somebody who's a really good mother. I mean, she was a single mother, right? And you know, having a job, trying to help her child. And then you have this other single mother who's like the opposite, who just the thought of you send her child out after dark and you tell him to make friends, child.
Let's not forget, because that's what I was going to bring up back when you distracted me when I was talking about the remake. Let's not forget that in the original, this is the same neighborhood where the mom goes out after hours to find that hobo and she almost gets raped. And then remember, the detective has to save her. He has to come and save her because the hobo's going to rape her. And it's like, that's the same neighborhood that Aubrey Plaza is telling her son to go out and go make some friends, loser.
Go make some friends. And so I think about that and think, well, I know, I'm just picking out some, but still, she's a main character. You've got the child, you have
Not
her.
really. She disappears after the
Well,
first
I know,
movie.
but she should have been better than what they made her into. I'll put it that way.
Just imagine if they made a Psycho sequel and Norman Bates isn't in it at all. Like, that's the equivalent here.
So that's why I put it number one, because it is the basis for everything. Whatever they did with the basis by turning it upside down into a pizza on the floor with all the ingredients all over the floor and the sauce everywhere, that's their problem. But that they did, you couldn't have any of it, no matter what they did with it, without the original. And then you could actually see what they did that was wrong by having that original, and what they should have done, could have done, and didn't do right. Okay, go ahead. What was your number one?
My number one is, of course, the last one that remains, if you guys figured it out already. My number one is Child's Play 3. This used to be my number one as a kid, and then I changed it because I thought, maybe it's as bad as everyone says. Because I didn't watch it for a while, and so I just heard all these people saying, Child's Play 3 is terrible. It's terrible. It's cheesy. It's a joke fest movie. And then I rewatched it again recently. I was like, wow, this is actually the best one.
It is.
It's a huge load of fun. There is a lot of danger in it, actually, with Chucky in this military academy. I liked how they gave Andy a love interest, because it's funny, now they make it almost seem like he's gonna be like Laurie Strode, where he's just this loser who can't get a love interest because he had this horrible past. But in this third movie, he gets a good love interest, and there's lots of great characters. You have the bully, and he's not even really a bully. I mean, all the times that he quote bullies the main character, they're kind of justified. Like that time where he's gonna steal something out of his room at night, and then he jumps into bed with the bully. Like that's really like if it, like his reaction was not unjustified. And then you had like that nerd who ends up sacrificing himself to save them. And Chucky was at his prime. He had all those one-liners, and he was scary at the same time. And there's just so many things to love about the third one, even though it does have a few issues, I guess. If you really if you want to be overly critical, it does. But I would say it is the best one. It is the most entertaining, too. The first one is a good setup, but you haven't even watched the first one recently. You know, if you watched it now, you might find it boring like I did. So.
Okay, well, we have ranked all the Chucky shows, and if you like this video, press the like button, and then...
Safi, let's just admit, this is not as good of a series as Halloween, because it's so inconsistent. The creator, he ran it into the ground.
It's very inconsistent, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
Really
real shame.
is. So, and if you like this video, press the like button, and if you would like to subscribe and listen to more reviews, which Marco does a lot more because this is what he does, and I do other things as well.
Yeah, I do other things
like
too.
Resale.
So.
We love having you as a subscriber. We enjoy and love to have new subscribers. And if you have a comment about if you enjoy ranking or whatever you thought about some of the shows and the movies that we talked about, what was your opinion, maybe how it differed?
Well, Safi, just to tell you, everyone thinks that the second one is the best one of the series. Everyone. Like, it's not even, like, close. Like, it's basically 90% people who think the second one is the best one, 10% people who think the first one is the best one. So you're in that little 10%.
Well, I don't care.
So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.